There's something extraordinary about truly successful people. It's not just what they do, but what they refuse to do. The truth is, success isn't about luck, intelligence, or talent alone. It's about mindset and discipline. Ownership is a game changer. The moment you take responsibility for everything in your life, your failures, your mistakes, your results, is the moment you take control of your future. Blaming others is easy, but it also makes you powerless. Successful people don't waste time pointing fingers. They ask, what can I do differently next time? A closed mind is a closed door. The world is evolving, and those who stop learning get left behind. Successful people read, ask questions, and stay curious. They understand that the moment they think they know it all, they've already lost. Fear is natural, but successful people don't let it control them. They don't wait for the perfect moment. They take action even when they're uncertain. They understand that the greatest rewards come from stepping outside their comfort zone. Energy is contagious. If you surround yourself with people who complain, doubt, and criticize, that mindset will rub off on you. But if you spend time with those who uplift, challenge, and inspire you, your potential expands. Successful people protect their environment like their future depends on it, because it does. Mediocrity is the enemy of greatness. Successful people don't just do what's required, they go beyond. They push boundaries, refine their craft, and always ask, how can I make this better? Because they know that small improvements made consistently create extraordinary results. The list goes on. They never dwell on the past, they never ignore their health, they never make excuses, they never give up too soon, and they never lose sight of their why. So here's the real question. What are you willing to stop doing today to get closer to success? Because success isn't about what you wish for, it's about what you're willing to change. Ownership changes everything. The moment we decide that our life, our career, our happiness, and our results are entirely within our control, we shift from being passive participants to active creators of our future. But the unfortunate reality is that most people don't do this. Most people take the easier route, the route of blame. It's a road well-traveled, wide and comforting, but it leads nowhere. Blame is seductive. It absolves us of responsibility. It allows us to point fingers at our circumstances, our boss, our parents, the economy, the government, or even fate itself. I didn't get the promotion because my manager plays favorites. I failed the test because the teacher is unfair. I can't build the life I want because the world is against me. These statements may feel true in the moment, but they don't serve us. They don't empower us. Instead, they strip us of our agency, making us mere spectators in our own lives. Successful people think differently. They don't blame others, not because they never face injustice, bad luck, or difficult situations, but because they refuse to let external circumstances dictate their trajectory. They understand that the second they shift blame, they also shift power away from themselves. And once you give your power away, you're at the mercy of the world around you. Take a moment and think about it. The most successful leaders, athletes, entrepreneurs, and artists all have one thing in common. They take full responsibility for everything in their control. If a business fails, they don't just blame the market. They ask themselves what they could have done differently. If a team underperforms, they don't just point to external factors, they evaluate their own leadership. If they fall short of a personal goal, they don't make excuses, they make adjustments. This mindset is what separates those who achieve great things from those who remain stuck. But taking ownership isn't easy. It requires an uncomfortable level of self-reflection. It forces us to admit that we made a mistake, that we could have tried harder, that we were the ones who fell short, not someone else. And that is not a comfortable place to be. Our ego resists it. It wants us to protect our self-opinion, to preserve the idea that we are never at fault. But comfort and growth do not coexist. Consider the difference in two people who experience the same failure. One blames everything around them. The system is rigged. The timing was off. The world was unfair. They walk away from the experience unchanged, waiting for the world to adjust to their expectations. The other person looks inward. They ask, what could I have done differently? They analyze their strategy, their effort, their approach. And most importantly, they apply those lessons moving forward. The second person, the one who owns their results, will always come out ahead. Even in situations that seem completely out of our control, there is always something we can take responsibility for. Let's say a business partner betrays your trust, costing you time and money. It would be easy and justified to blame them entirely, but a successful person asks, what signs did I miss? What can I learn from this? How can I ensure this doesn't happen again? It's not about taking the blame for someone else's wrongdoing. It's about finding the part of the situation that you can control, because the moment you do, you reclaim your power. This mindset shift is life-changing. It's the difference between saying life happens to me and saying I create my life. One is a position of helplessness. The other is a position of strength. Of course, this is easier said than done. Our habits of blaming others and making excuses are deeply ingrained. They come from years of conditioning, from a culture that often rewards victimhood over accountability. But shifting out of that mindset is a practice. It's something we must do consciously every single day. Start by paying attention to your language. How often do you say, "It's not my fault," or "There was nothing I could do"? Catch yourself in those moments and ask, is that really true? Was there really nothing I could have done differently? You'll be surprised at how often the answer is yes. Next, focus on solutions, not problems. When something goes wrong, resist the urge to dwell on the unfairness of the situation. Instead, ask, what can I do next? How can I improve? This simple shift moves you from feeling stuck to taking action. And finally, surround yourself with people who embody this mindset. People who take responsibility for their actions, who don't waste time making excuses, who challenge themselves to be better. Because accountability is contagious. When you spend time with people who own their results, you will naturally begin to do the same. So, here's the truth. The most successful people don't avoid failure, rejection, or setbacks. They experience them just like everyone else. But instead of blaming the world, they take control. They own their actions, their decisions, and their outcomes. And in doing so, they create the future they want, not the one they settle for. The choice is yours. Will you take control, or will you give your power away? Because at the end of the day, success isn't just about what you do, it's about what you refuse to do. And successful people never blame others. The world never stands still. Every day, new ideas emerge, industries evolve, and technology advances at an incredible pace. The most successful people understand this, and they never stop learning. They know that growth is not a one-time event, but a continuous process, one that requires curiosity, humility, and an openness to new perspectives. Many people believe that learning ends the moment they leave school. They graduate, get a job, and assume they know enough to get by. But this mindset is dangerous. The moment we stop learning, we stop growing. And the moment we stop growing, we start falling behind. The world does not reward those who stand still. It rewards those who adapt, evolve, and constantly seek new knowledge. Successful people see learning as a lifelong commitment. They understand that knowledge is not static, it is fluid. What worked yesterday may not work today, and what works today may not be enough for tomorrow. That is why they dedicate themselves to continuous improvement, always seeking ways to refine their skills, expand their understanding, and challenge their own beliefs. But learning isn't just about acquiring information, it's about shifting our mindset. Many people believe that intelligence is fixed, that you are either born smart or you're not. But the most successful individuals operate with a different belief, that intelligence is something that can be developed. This mindset, often referred to as a growth mindset, is one of the most powerful traits a person can have. It allows people to embrace challenges rather than fear them, to see failure as an opportunity rather than a setback, and to persist in the face of obstacles rather than give up. Think about the most influential leaders, entrepreneurs, and innovators. They are not necessarily the smartest people in the room, but they are the most curious. They ask questions. They seek feedback. They are not afraid to admit when they don't know something. Instead of seeing knowledge gaps as weaknesses, they see them as opportunities to learn. This willingness to be a student, no matter how much success they have achieved, is what keeps them ahead. The greatest thinkers in history all had one thing in common, an insatiable thirst for knowledge. Albert Einstein famously said, "I have no special talent. I am only passionately curious." Bill Gates, one of the most successful entrepreneurs of our time, reads about 50 books a year. Warren Buffett spends the majority of his day reading and thinking. These individuals didn't stop learning once they reached a certain level of success. They doubled down on it because they know that learning is the key to sustained excellence. But learning doesn't just happen in books. It happens in conversations, in experiences, and in failures. Every setback, every mistake, and every challenge carries a lesson if we are willing to learn from it. Unfortunately, many people do not. They repeat the same mistakes, face the same problems, and wonder why nothing changes. The answer is simple: they are not learning. Successful people take every failure as an opportunity to improve. They don't dwell on their mistakes, they analyze them. They ask themselves, what went wrong? What could I have done differently? What lesson can I take from this? And most importantly, they apply those lessons moving forward. This ability to learn from failure is one of the most important factors in long-term success. Learning also requires unlearning. Many of us carry outdated beliefs about ourselves, about the world, about how things should be done. These beliefs can limit us, keeping us stuck in old ways of thinking. Successful people are willing to question their own assumptions. They challenge their own perspectives. They are open to change even when it is uncomfortable, because they know that clinging to outdated knowledge is just as dangerous as having no knowledge at all. One of the biggest barriers to continuous learning is ego. Many people believe that admitting they don't know something makes them look weak. They fear being seen as incompetent, so they pretend to have all the answers. But this mindset is a trap. It prevents growth. The most successful people are not afraid to say, I don't know. In fact, they embrace it, because every time they admit they don't know something, they create an opportunity to learn. Another key aspect of lifelong learning is surrounding yourself with people who challenge you. If you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. Growth happens when we engage with people who push us to think differently, who expose us to new ideas, and who challenge us to be better. Successful people seek out mentors, coaches, and advisors. They learn from those who have more experience, and they are not too proud to ask for guidance. In a world that is constantly changing, those who refuse to learn will inevitably be left behind. Industries are being disrupted. Technology is advancing at an unprecedented rate. The skills that were valuable yesterday may be irrelevant tomorrow. The only way to stay ahead is to commit to learning every single day. This doesn't mean spending hours studying textbooks. It means developing a habit of curiosity. It means reading books, listening to podcasts, attending seminars, having meaningful conversations, and actively seeking out new experiences. It means being willing to ask questions, to challenge your own thinking, and to embrace discomfort, because real learning happens outside of our comfort zone. So the question is not whether you are smart enough. The question is, are you curious enough? Are you willing to keep learning, even when it's uncomfortable? Are you willing to admit when you don't know something? Are you willing to challenge your own beliefs? Because the most successful people never stop learning. And neither should you. Fear is one of the most powerful forces in human behavior. It has the ability to paralyze us, to stop us from taking risks, to keep us within the safety of what we know. And yet the most successful people in the world have found a way to move forward despite it. It's not that they don't feel fear. They do. The difference is that they refuse to let it dictate their choices. They understand that if they allow fear to take control, they will never reach their full potential. Fear manifests in many forms. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of looking foolish, fear of losing what we already have. And because these fears feel real, many people spend their entire lives playing it safe. They avoid risks, stick to what's familiar, and convince themselves that staying comfortable is the best option. But what they fail to realize is that avoiding fear does not lead to success, it leads to stagnation. Successful people understand that everything they want lies on the other side of fear. They know that every major breakthrough, every career opportunity, every moment of personal growth requires stepping into discomfort. They don't wait until they feel ready, because they know that readiness is a myth. If you wait until you're completely free of fear before making a move, you'll be waiting forever. Instead, they take action despite their fears, trusting that courage is built through movement, not through waiting. It's easy to look at highly successful individuals and assume they are simply fearless. But this couldn't be further from the truth. Every entrepreneur who started a business felt the fear of failing. Every artist who shared their work with the world felt the fear of criticism. Every leader who made a bold decision felt the fear of getting it wrong. The difference is that they did it anyway. They accepted fear as part of the process instead of a reason to stop. One of the biggest fears people have is the fear of failure. Society has conditioned us to believe that failure is something to be avoided at all costs, something that defines us. But the truth is, failure is not the opposite of success. It is a part of success. The most accomplished people in history failed more times than most people even tried. Thomas Edison famously failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. Walt Disney was told he lacked creativity. Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first television job. These individuals didn't let failure stop them because they understood that failure is simply feedback. It is a lesson, a stepping stone, a necessary part of the journey. What separates successful people from the rest is how they interpret failure. Where most people see failure as a sign to quit, successful people see it as proof that they are pushing themselves beyond their limits. They understand that every failure is a lesson, and every lesson brings them closer to their goals. Instead of asking, what if I fail, they ask, what will I learn if I fail? This shift in mindset is everything. Another major fear that holds people back is the fear of judgment. We worry about what others will think. We hesitate to speak up, to share our ideas, to take bold steps, all because we are afraid of criticism. But the reality is, no matter what we do, there will always be people who have something negative to say. The world is full of critics, and if we let their opinions dictate our actions, we will never do anything meaningful. Successful people do not seek approval. They do not let the fear of judgment silence them. They trust in their vision, take action, and let their results speak for themselves. Fear can also disguise itself as perfectionism. Many people don't realize that their obsession with getting things just right is actually a form of fear. They delay starting a business because they want the perfect plan. They hesitate to launch a project because they feel it's not ready. They refuse to take a step forward until everything is certain. But the truth is, perfection is an illusion. There is no perfect plan, no perfect moment, no perfect guarantee of success. Waiting for perfection is just another way of letting fear win. Successful people don't let perfectionism hold them back. They start before they feel ready. They launch before everything is perfect. They understand that action creates clarity and that progress is made through trial and error, not through waiting for the perfect conditions. They trust that they will learn as they go, adjust along the way, and figure things out in motion. Overcoming fear does not mean eliminating it. Fear will always be there. But successful people train themselves to act in spite of it. They build courage by facing their fears repeatedly, by proving to themselves that they are capable of handling discomfort. Every time they take a step forward despite fear, they reinforce a new belief that they are stronger than their doubts, more capable than they once thought, and that fear does not define them. The key to mastering fear is exposure. The more we confront what scares us, the less power it has over us. This is why successful people seek out challenges instead of avoiding them. They push themselves into situations that make them uncomfortable. They take public speaking gigs even though they're nervous. They have difficult conversations even when they'd rather avoid them. They make big decisions even when they feel uncertain. Each time they do this, they expand their comfort zone, making the next challenge feel a little easier. Fear is not the enemy, inaction is. The real danger is not failing, but never trying in the first place. The real regret does not come from making mistakes, but from looking back and wondering, what if? The most successful people understand this. They do not let fear dictate their choices because they know that on the other side of fear is growth, opportunity, and success. So the question is not whether you feel fear, it's what you do with it. Will you let it control you, keep you small, and hold you back, or will you acknowledge it, face it, and take action despite it? Because in the end, fear will always be present. But it's those who move forward in spite of it who achieve extraordinary things. The people we surround ourselves with shape our thoughts, influence our actions, and ultimately determine the direction of our lives. Whether we realize it or not, we absorb the attitudes, beliefs, and energy of those around us. This is why successful people are intentional about the company they keep. They do not waste time with negative people, those who drain energy, discourage ambition, and spread doubt. Instead, they build relationships with people who uplift, challenge, and inspire them to be better. Negativity is contagious. Spend enough time around people who constantly complain, and soon you will find yourself complaining too. Be around those who focus on problems instead of solutions, and before long, your mindset will start to mirror theirs. This is why many people struggle to break free from mediocrity. It's not that they lack ambition or talent, it's that they are surrounded by the wrong influences. The people in their lives reinforce doubt, fear, and limitation, keeping them stuck in the same patterns. Successful individuals recognize this, which is why they are incredibly selective about who they allow into their inner circle. They do not tolerate constant negativity, gossip, or a victim mentality. They seek out people who push them forward, who encourage them to think bigger, who challenge them to improve. They understand that success is not just about hard work, it's also about the environment they create for themselves. And that environment starts with the people they choose to associate with. It's not just about avoiding negativity, it's about surrounding yourself with excellence. If you want to grow, you need to be around people who elevate your thinking. People who set high standards for themselves and expect the same from you. People who are striving for greatness, who are committed to learning, who see challenges as opportunities rather than obstacles. These are the types of relationships that fuel success. Think about the most successful individuals in any field. They are not surrounded by those who drag them down, they are surrounded by those who lift them up. Elite athletes train with other elite athletes, constantly pushing each other to new heights. Business leaders seek out mentors, advisors, and peers who challenge their thinking and help them grow. Innovators and creatives collaborate with those who expand their perspective, inspiring them to break boundaries. This is not a coincidence. It is a deliberate choice. One of the most difficult but necessary steps towards success is distancing yourself from toxic relationships. This does not mean you have to cut people out of your life entirely, but it does mean setting boundaries. If someone consistently brings negativity into your space, if they drain your energy, belittle your dreams, or constantly focus on what's wrong rather than what's possible, it is your responsibility to limit their influence over you. This can be difficult, especially when these people are longtime friends, colleagues, or even family members. But success requires making tough choices. And one of the most important choices you can make is to prioritize your own growth over maintaining relationships that no longer serve you. There is a saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This statement is more than just a cliche, it is a fundamental truth about human behavior. If you surround yourself with people who are ambitious, driven, and positive, their mindset will naturally influence yours. If you spend time with those who lack motivation, complain about their circumstances, and make excuses, you will absorb those patterns as well. This is why successful people are highly intentional about who they allow into their close circle. They understand that their environment is just as important as their skills, knowledge, or work ethic. Choosing the right people to be around does not mean only seeking out those who agree with you. Growth happens when we are challenged. Successful individuals surround themselves with people who are willing to offer honest feedback, who push them to think differently, who are unafraid to question their assumptions. They do not fear being around those who are smarter or more experienced than them, in fact. They seek it out. They understand that the best way to grow is to be in the company of those who can teach them something new. This is why mentorship is such a powerful force. Having the right mentors, people who have already walked the path you are on, can accelerate your progress in ways that no amount of solo effort can. A mentor can offer insights you would never have considered, help you avoid costly mistakes, and provide a level of guidance that can be life-changing. But mentorship doesn't just happen. You have to seek it out. You have to be willing to ask for advice, to listen, to learn. And just as importantly, you have to be the kind of person that successful mentors want to invest in, someone who is open, willing to take action, and committed to growth. In addition to mentors, successful people also invest in peer relationships, connections with others who are on a similar journey. They form mastermind groups, join professional networks, and cultivate friendships with those who share their drive and ambition. They know that success is not a solo pursuit. It is built through collaboration, shared knowledge, and mutual support. Having a strong network not only provides opportunities, but also helps navigate the inevitable challenges that come with pursuing big goals. It is also important to recognize that being around the right people is not just about what you can get. It's also about what you can give. The most successful individuals do not just seek value from others, they add value in return. They contribute ideas, offer support, share knowledge, and lift others up as they climb. They understand that the best relationships are built on mutual growth, where both parties challenge and inspire each other. If you want to elevate your life, start by evaluating the people you spend the most time with. Ask yourself, do they inspire me? Do they challenge me to be better? Do they support my growth? Or do they hold me back? The answers to these questions will tell you everything you need to know about whether your current environment is helping you or hurting you. Success is not just about talent, hard work, or even luck. It is also about proximity, who you choose to be around, who influences your thinking, who shapes your beliefs. You cannot surround yourself with negativity and expect to grow. You cannot spend time with those who doubt you and expect to build confidence. You cannot be around those who settle for mediocrity and expect to achieve greatness. Your environment matters. Your relationships matter. And if you want to reach your full potential, you must be willing to make the difficult but necessary choice to surround yourself with people who bring out the best in you. Because in the end, the most successful people don't just avoid negative people, they seek out greatness in others. And in doing so, they create greatness within themselves. Life is full of distractions. Every day we are bombarded with notifications, emails, social media updates, and endless streams of information demanding our attention. Most people move through their days reacting to emails, reacting to other people's demands, reacting to whatever seems urgent at the moment. But successful people operate differently. They are not controlled by distractions or consumed by busyness. Instead, they are intentional about how they spend their time. They do not waste energy on things that do not move them forward. They focus on what truly matters. One of the biggest mistakes people make is confusing activity with productivity. Just because someone is constantly busy does not mean they are making real progress. Many people fill their days with low-value tasks, responding to endless emails, sitting in unnecessary meetings, scrolling through social media, all while neglecting the work that actually drives results. Successful people do not fall into this trap. They understand the difference between being busy and being effective. They are ruthless about cutting out distractions and dedicating their time to what truly matters. At the core of this mindset is the ability to say no. Most people struggle with this. They say yes to every request, every invitation, every opportunity that comes their way. They fear missing out, disappointing others, or being seen as unhelpful. But successful people recognize that every yes to something unimportant is a no to something essential. They know that time is their most valuable resource and they protect it fiercely. They do not let other people's priorities dictate how they spend their time. Instead, they set clear boundaries and focus on the things that align with their goals. One of the most powerful ways successful people maintain focus is by prioritizing deep work. In today's world, where distractions are constant, the ability to concentrate for long periods without interruption is a superpower. Most people struggle with this. They jump between tasks, check their phones every few minutes, and allow distractions to constantly pull them away from meaningful work. But the most successful individuals create conditions for deep, focused effort. They block out dedicated time for important tasks, eliminate unnecessary interruptions, and train their minds to sustain focus for extended periods. This is how great work gets done. This level of focus requires discipline. It is not easy to resist the pull of distractions, to say no when it's uncomfortable, to consistently prioritize the most important work. But successful people understand that discipline is the bridge between goals and results. They do not wait until they feel like it to do the work. They commit to doing it regardless of how they feel. They create routines and systems that help them stay focused, and they follow them relentlessly. A key part of maintaining focus is knowing what to eliminate. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every opportunity is worth pursuing. Successful people regularly assess how they are spending their time and remove anything that is not serving them. They delegate tasks that do not require their personal attention. They cut out obligations that drain their energy. They limit their time on social media, avoid unnecessary meetings, and eliminate anything that distracts them from their mission. They are not afraid to simplify their lives in order to maximize their impact. Another essential practice is setting clear goals. Without a clear sense of direction, it is easy to get pulled in 100 different directions. Successful people take the time to define what truly matters to them. They know exactly what they are working toward, and they structure their days around those priorities. They set long-term goals, break them down into actionable steps, and ensure that their daily efforts are aligned with their ultimate vision. This clarity allows them to stay focused even when distractions arise. It is also important to recognize that focus is not just about what you do, it is also about what you think. Many people waste mental energy on things that do not serve them. They dwell on past mistakes, worry about things they cannot control, or constantly second-guess their decisions. Successful people do not allow their minds to be consumed by negativity or unproductive thoughts. They train themselves to focus on solutions rather than problems, on progress rather than setbacks, on opportunities rather than obstacles. They cultivate a mindset that supports their goals rather than distracts from them. One of the biggest challenges to focus is learning to manage energy, not just time. Many people push themselves to the point of exhaustion, believing that working longer hours will lead to greater success. But successful people understand that productivity is not about working more, it is about working smarter. They prioritize rest, exercise, and mental clarity because they know that a well-rested mind is far more effective than a burned-out one. They take breaks when needed, they maintain healthy habits, and they invest in their well-being so that they can perform at their best. Another important aspect of focus is learning how to recover from distractions. No one is immune to getting distracted. Even the most disciplined people sometimes lose focus. The difference is that successful individuals do not let distractions derail them for long. When they notice they have been pulled away from their priorities, they quickly refocus and get back on track. They do not waste time feeling guilty about losing focus, they simply reset and move forward. Perhaps the most valuable habit successful people develop is aligning their daily actions with their larger purpose. When you have a clear purpose, something that truly matters to you, staying focused becomes much easier. Purpose creates clarity. It gives you a reason to wake up every day and stay committed to your goals. When you are deeply connected to why you do what you do, distractions lose their power. You no longer waste time on meaningless activities because you are too focused on something greater. Ultimately, focus is about making conscious choices. It is about deciding every single day to direct your time, energy, and attention toward what truly matters. It is about refusing to be controlled by distractions, by other people's demands, by anything that does not serve your mission. It is about creating an environment that supports your success, surrounding yourself with people who uplift you, and developing the discipline to stay on course. Success is not about luck. It is not about talent alone. It is about consistently doing the things that move you forward while eliminating the things that hold you back. And one of the most powerful things you can do is to master the art of focus. Because in a world full of distractions, the ability to concentrate on what truly matters is one of the greatest competitive advantages you can have.